Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jamie Marco,
and Stan Brown,
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are,
one story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it. Well, hi, Dad. Can you hear me? Oh my goodness. So for anyone that is looking to start a podcast with my dad's generation, I'd like to tell you to be patient and calm and aware that it's a different generation, right, Dad?
Are you saying that because of my benefit?
Listen, technology, you were not raised in the technology that I was raised on. And so much so that even like I have a younger sister who's 4 years younger. I was not raised in the technology that she was raised on. And now raising my own child, it's like, it's hard to catch up. Like how did you connect with people when you were my age?
Also, there's innumerable power failures in Florida this time of the year to kind of get us to set back. In the past, we used to use pigeons. You go to the roof, you grab the pigeon, put a little thing in his little paw and say, give him the address, whisper the address in his ear, and hopefully you're going to come back. It works.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you did. I do like how you blamed the power in Florida.
Are those rabbit ears or something?
Yeah, the power. It's so funny though. We were talking the other day is that, we were talking, my husband and I, you know him, David, we were talking about how we've had like different issues with different contractors or people that we brought in, anything from lawn care to, pool care to whatever it might be. And when there's an issue and you ask them about the issue, guess what the first thing they always do?
They tell you it's Florida.
No.
They tell you the problem is you.
No, close. They blame somebody else. It's like there's this whole thing about where nobody wants to hold themselves accountable anymore. Or, I don't know. I just feel like you raised me differently. Like if someone's going to come to me with a problem, I'm like, all right, listen, I'm going to own it. Even if I wasn't the one who caused it, I want to figure out how to help rather than be like, well, it's not me. It's got to be this or it's got to be that. I just feel like that's such a cop out.
One of the companies I worked for in the past had a great credo, and the credo was, if I tell someone to do something and they do it incorrectly, it's not their fault. It's my fault because I did not communicate precisely what I wanted, what I expected, and I didn't understand. So it's a matter of completing that links. You understand what's the old expression? Tell them what you told them, and tell them back, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a 3x3. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. Yeah,
but it sounds good to me.
Well, it's the thing, but also it's like, like that is when I'm doing like leadership courses. I'm always like, listen, you have to, when you tell somebody to do something, you've got to check in and make sure that they actually heard what you said, because in reality, we only retain about 20 to 30% of what we hear. Go ahead.
Well, most of the problems.
I thought you were going to go, what?
But most of the problems abound. They're really problems of communication on all levels, in all incomes, all occupations, communicating properly, clear and concise.
It's so true. And it's like we hear, they say you hear what you want to hear, or like selective hearing, but it's so true. It's like if you're not dialed in or you're not, and then I talk about how we all use different words that mean different things, but it's so true about like just really hearing what someone has to say and why it's important. And so, yeah.
Simple solutions are usually the best.
I agree. Keep it simple, stupid. Is that what the KISS method is?
Oh, that's a bad word.
I know.
Keep it simple. Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. That works.
Well, I am excited to welcome in our guest today. You've not met him, but I have. And so our guest is pretty incredible, was an athlete in college and then transferred that into a career. So are you ready to meet our guest for the day?
This is the mystery guest. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Here he comes. Here he comes. Hold on, I'll sing it for him when he comes in. Let's see if we can see him. Take me out to the ball game. You're on mute. We got to get you off mute. Nolan, let's get you off mute.
You look terrific.
On mute. Hold on a second.
Nolan, how are you?
Oh, he's already leaving. He's already like, I've had it with you guys. I'm out of here.
Welcome back. Come back.
Hi, Nolan. Long time no see, friend.
Yeah, right. What's going on?
Well, I'm so happy to have you here. I was just talking to my dad. He knows very
Jamie,
little
your voice is a little choppy.
about my voice.
Better now.
Oh, technology. Again, I'm going to blame the electric company. There's not even a storm outside today. But I was telling my dad briefly about you, and we did, we've looked up, we've Googled you. We've Googled.
No.
And I know what I know about you, but we're excited to have you on the podcast. And I think you know a little bit about it, but really our goal is just to tell the stories of people in our world that we think are pretty awesome, regardless of what you're doing, and just kind of share your life with the world. It's kind of like the show, This Is Your Life, which was made for our time. But I'd love for you to take like 60 seconds or less and just briefly tell my dad, what is it that you do? What is it that you do?
Yeah, so I'm in the field of baseball. Head baseball coach at Manatee High School. I also run Square Up Academy here in Bradenton, and the FGCL College Summer League here in Bradenton as well. So that's pretty much, in a nutshell, how busy I am.
But it's so cool because like that is like such, I mean, first of all, that's a lot. You're coaching a high school team, you're running an academy. It didn't start there though. And you come from a baseball family, but I don't want to tell your story. So,
Yeah.
how did you get started? Like go back to, oh, I know you're
The
born
beginning, the beginning.
I mean, we were born in the 2000s. I know you're older than that. Don't tell us the year you were born. But like I mean, like where did this all come from? Like what did it start from?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pennsylvania, a family line of coaches. My dad is a college head coach in Pennsylvania at DeSales University. He's been there for 35 plus years.
Also
My
baseball.
Also baseball, yeah, also baseball. My grandfather was an American Legion baseball head coach for a
Wow.
long time. They are both in the American Legion Hall of Fame and the Quakertown Hall of Fame, which is where we're from in Pennsylvania. So it kind of grew up on the field. Grew up, getting up every morning and going to a camp or recruiting with my dad or going to his field and just being around baseball every second for the most part. And when I wasn't with him, I was with my grandfather, and it was the same thing.
So it
So
wasn't nature versus nurture, it
I
was
was
nature and nurture.
I was
yeah,
just gonna say
absolutely,
that. Get out of my brain. Get out of my
absolutely,
brain.
absolutely. Yeah, it was, and it was great. It was, it wasn't bedtime stories of Mother Goose. It was, baseball stories and really kind of living at the field and being a field rat and just growing up with his players and other teams and just being, doing everything you could do, but it was all outside the field and having a lot of fun doing it. Like any kid, I played a lot of sports. I played hockey and I played baseball, I played basketball growing up, and loved it all. It was all fun. And then at one point, just kind of knew baseball was my future and stayed there. And kind of the rest is history. And played obviously in high school, had a chance to play in college, had a chance to play professionally for a little bit, and then got into this coaching realm. And it's been, I guess it's 20 years now I've been coaching.
Wow.
So
That's so cool. All right, Cracker Jacks or hot dog? Just curious.
hot dogs. Hot dogs.
But
Hot
that's so
dogs.
cool. Like, I mean, listen, you have played, you have coached, you've played on a professional level, and now you're coaching players who probably will end up possibly at a professional level as well too. What would you say has like been like the greatest lesson that you've learned about baseball?
I think it goes back to the relationships and just like yours and I met you kind of blue at BNI and we've been friends ever since. And I think having the relationships with the people you're around and loving going to work every day and loving going to the field as a player or loving going to the field as a coach, and just being around people you want to be with. I mean, it's the joke was, when I was recruiting in college was you're not going to make me miserable for 4 years. So it's all going to be you're going to smile, you're going to be around it, you're going to love it, and if you're not, don't come here because again, you're not going to make me miserable. So,
Yeah.
again, get up every day and loving what you do and never feeling like you have to work a day in your life. It's just going and doing your job and enjoying it from all aspects.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah.
I feel I'm definitely fortunate. It's my career, my passion, my hobby. It's all the same thing, and not many people get to say that.
That's so cool. Now you have little ones too. Are they following in that nature nurture path of baseball?
Yeah, so our 10-year-old daughter, she's not. She likes coming with me, but she doesn't like it a whole lot. Now my 8-year-old son is a spitting image. I mean, he he gets up every morning. He was with me the last 2 days for 15 hours each day down to the tournament in Fort Myers, and we leave at 5:30 in the morning, and he's up and ready to go before I am. And he's a rat just like I was growing up, and it's a good thing. And then our little girl, she's 4. She's probably the best athlete of them all. She actually just got her first bat and glove, and she's excited to play t-ball. But she likes soccer as well, so might send her over to you for some soccer lessons.
That is
She
so cool.
yeah, she's great. But yeah, my son's he loves it. I mean, he loves being around the boys, and he's in every picture and everything we do. He's right there in the middle of it. So it's going to be cool to see how he kind of grows up and what he does with himself.
That's awesome. Who's your favorite professional team?
Always been a fan of the Yankees. I think more of the history behind it than anything.
Yeah.
With Gehrig and Ruth and DiMaggio and all those guys in that 20s and 30s and 40s. I think it's really cool to see what they did. And they were way ahead of their time organizationally.
So is there no Mother Goose for your son either? It's all about Babe Ruth instead.
So his name's Ty. He's named after Ty Cobb,
Ah,
which is cool. He definitely likes it. He likes his baseball. He's got baseball books, but he likes dinosaurs a lot too, and some other things. So I'm happy he's not. We don't have to push him to do it, but I'm happy he likes other things as well.
I love that. So I know that Scrap Academy was like, it's only been around for how long now? Not that long.
We are starting year 8, I believe, 8 or 9.
Wow, that's incredible.
So
So tell us a little bit about how that came about, because that's a pretty awesome thing that you're doing. And I know that for a while it was kind of like a dream for you to be able to do that and to create that. So tell us a little bit more about how that came to
yeah,
fruition.
yeah. So actually, I guess it's starting 7 years in this spring. But excuse me. But we was working I left baseball for a couple years and was running the sign company where I met you at, and um, our owner here at Square Up, Jay Howard, um, was in a career transition as well, and we talked a lot and decided to open this place up. So now we have a 24,000 square feet indoor facility here in Bradenton that anybody can come to and rent cages to hit and throw. We do team rentals, we do lessons, we do leagues that are in here. But it's been a great thing for the past 6, almost 7 years now, and being able to help guys develop and help girls develop on the softball side as well has been really good. And I think the girls and guys that come in here and they buy into the concept of development and the next level working type thing, is they're the ones that have a lot of success, and we're here if you need us, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. But the ones that come in certainly do have an advantage over everybody else, I think.
I love that. We have so many of the major league teams in our area, right? Like obviously we have the Rays up in St. Pete. We've got the Pirates that are here. We've got the Yankees that come in spring train here. We had the White Sox. We have the Braves that are down in the Venice area. Ever get any of those major players that are coming in to check out the facilities?
We do. We have a good little group of probably half a dozen or so pro guys that train here in the off season with us, and then as guys come through and they leave, and people will stop by, throughout the year as well. So hopefully continuing to grow in that side of it. I think the pro training side of it is something we excel at from their development. But at the same time, it's being here and being in the community and having this relationship with the little league and the travel teams and just all the kids that in that 6 through 14 age group is where that they you see the biggest growth, I guess. And the more we can help them grow, the better our game's going to be at the end of it.
That's so incredible. What is like on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
I don't know. That's a good question. I miss college baseball. You coached college for 13 years, and I missed that part of it. And being a college head coach would be awesome. I've had a few opportunities here and there, and just weren't the right fit or timing to do something like that. So that's always kind of been a goal or a dream. But I'm pretty happy where I am. I mean, the fact being at Manatee High School is an unbelievable situation. Being able to run the academy here has been awesome. So really, at the end of the day, it's I'm happy every morning to get up and happy to go to sleep, and really can't dream of anything else at this point right now.
I love that. All right, favorite baseball movie. What was it?
Ooh, probably Bull Durham. That's
Oh,
a good
not
one.
Field of Dreams?
No, that's a good one too. Bull Durham's cool. I mean, Kevin Costner's awesome. Anything with him in it,
Yeah.
athletic wise, is a great situation. Um, I just like Bull Durham. I think it's, I mean, the Field of Dreams has got the tugs at your heartstrings a little bit.
Mhm.
Bull Durham's probably more reality of what minor league baseball is like, on the baseball side anyway. The other side of it's not, but on the baseball side, it's a pretty good picture of what you're dealing with day to day.
I love it. What would you say was your favorite memory growing up when it comes to playing baseball?
Hmm. I don't know if there's one specific one, but well, I shouldn't say that. When I was a sophomore in college, we actually won our regional and got to go play in the College World Series. So winning that game and getting to go on, I think, was probably the highlight of my career. And then my first professional game, obviously, you're gonna remember that for forever. But those are two things I think are at top of it. But just being around it and seeing, being around the competitiveness and the energy and seeing kids compete, and whether it was as a player or now as a coach, I think those are the things that you remember the most. And again, it goes back to the relationships. It's, you never seek out to for the future and what it's going to be. But as recruiting wise, we always said, hey, you're trying to recruit weddings, not game, not wins. So at the end of the day, how many kids are going to call you in 10 years, 15 years and say, hey, I want you to come to my wedding, or I want you to be a part of this, or call for whatever reason it might be. And yeah, at the end of the day, that's what you win. That's the win right there. You're not going to remember the wins and losses at the end of the day. I'm sure you don't remember all your soccer wins and losses. I mean, I know I don't, but you remember those relationships.
Nolan, a question. Of
Yeah.
all the kids that come out in tryouts, what do you do with it when a kid's got, literally, I hate to say it, more enthusiasm than talent? Can you bring that? Can you create the talent?
You can. There's certainly guys that we've done it with. I mean, on the high school level, we have a 40-man roster, 20 for varsity, 20 for JV. There's been players that we've kept as practice players, we call them, where, hey, I see something in you. I
Sure.
don't know what it's going to be, but we'll give you a year to try to figure it out and grow and develop. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But hey, let's see what
Give it a
happens.
shot. Sure.
Yeah, we'll give you a shot. Now you can do that in high school. In college, you can't do that as much because it's a more of a win now effect. But at the youth level, if you got a kid who wants to be there and works his butt off and he's got great energy, and um, you try to find a place for those guys. Because I think those are guys that are program guys or team guys that at the end of the day, if you're not winning, can spark something in somebody else to make them better. And
And plus, the excitement you have to get from knowing that the effect you have on these kids is a lifelong experience.
oh,
I mean,
absolutely,
it's your
absolutely.
extended family, and you can say one word of encouragement that goes a long, long way.
Oh, absolutely. You're molding the future for sure. And my wife's a high school teacher and she's on the same boat on that side of it, but I get to do it every day in a fun environment, and where yeah, wins matter, but they don't at the end of the day. I mean, their grades do, their wins don't. But if we can keep pushing them and keep developing kids on and off the field to be better, better men and hopefully better fathers and husbands and members of society, then we've done our jobs.
I love that. What position did you play again? Remind me.
Played infield.
Infield.
Yeah.
So, do you make it up to, obviously we're really super close to a couple different teams. Do you make it to a lot of the local games when you can?
When we can, we'll go to occasionally a few Marauders games and a few Pirate spring training games. We actually took Ty up to the Rays game for part of his birthday a couple weeks ago, so that was pretty cool. But we try to get to a couple a year. But at the end of the day, it's not a ton of time to do those things, unfortunately. Need to probably make more of those opportunities. But when you're at the field every day, it's one downfall, I guess, of having everything as baseball is when I go home, I want to go home. And I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to, be able to kind of relax and hang out with the girls and Ty and just try to, be a family and not worry about what baseball is. I mean, I don't watch much baseball on TV at all.
really? Like not
College
even
World
like
Series,
as we get, yeah, like the
yeah,
the college
College
games?
World Series, a lot of college games I'll watch just because my friends are coaching or players that have played for me, or I saw recruiting wise or whatever. But I couldn't tell you the last pro game I watched on TV. Couldn't do it.
That's so
Couldn't do
funny.
it.
We were not growing up, we were not a baseball family. We weren't actually really a sports family. Like we didn't really like we did sports, we never really watched it, but now, I've got a lot of friends who work for different teams. Now, like my daughter, like my husband explains to her everything about baseball. I'll play everything else, but she is like,
He's English. What does he know
I
about
know, he
baseball?
knows nothing
I was
about
just
it.
gonna say that.
But she like loves it. She's so
Yeah,
gets into it. She'll sit there. I mean, obviously the games now are shorter now with the pitch clock,
right.
shorter. And I think that, I mean, what's your opinion on this? Like, I feel like they did that because people were losing interest in actually watching the game. And those games were going so long. But I mean, you know better.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
No, and I 100% agree. We started in college a long time ago, and they've just now implemented in obviously in the pros.
Mhm.
It's something that I believe helps the game because you're right, it was taking for long. In college, it was because of the West Coast teams. They were, in stall ball, they called it, and they're just taking forever. I mean, you were playing games in 4 or 5 hours, which was ridiculous.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
but I like it. We're fast paced defensive team and pitching team. So we get the ball, we try to throw it within 12 seconds as the next pitch, and just kind of move, 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 move.
Yeah.
One, it keeps our guys engaged, and then two, it really forces the other team to do something they probably are not used to doing by being in the box and kind of forcing them to be, on top of it a lot quicker. So advantage us, I hope, at least on the defensive and pitching side. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's good for the game. I mean, I do see both sides of the argument of, we're getting some more injuries and stuff like that because they're forcing guys not to recover quicker or have enough time in between pitches to recover. But at the same time, I think that those injuries stem from other things as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, I like it. I think any way you can make the game more exciting and into it. Those little devices we hold in our hands every day and all day. It's killer for our kids. It's for us, and the more
Sure.
you can keep people engaged to do something and watch, the better.
Yeah.
And anytime you give them downtime, what do? You pull out your phone, and look for something.
Mhm.
And I'm at fault too. I'm sure we all are. So it's just a matter of, okay, how can we keep people, that engagement all along. I mean, even in school, it's you get like 12, 15 seconds to catch somebody's attention and then they move on. So
Crazy.
how can we be better as a society, not just baseball, but of keeping our youth, I guess, engaged in other things like that.
So there's no crying in baseball, is there?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, pardon my ignorance, but is baseball an Olympic sport?
It is. It is.
I've
And
seen it
I
because
just learned that actually, so I just learned this, that if the players go play in the Olympics, I think I'm probably going to butcher this out. I think that they still like they get paid twice, right? They get paid to be Olympic players, but they're also still getting paid to pay for
Yeah.
just their team lose money when they do that.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I guess.
are they
um,
professionals?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they keep changing it. So it used to be just college players played for Team USA, and now in the Olympics it's the pro guys. But you're right, Jamie. They do continue to get paid because their contracts are what they are, no matter what they do. So they basically have the relationship with USA Baseball and Major League Baseball, saying, "Hey, we'll let you use our guys for 2 weeks. Here you go," and then they get paid from the USA stipend as well, as far as I know. And
Well, and
then,
then like August, isn't August like getting pretty close to World Series? So those are some important games in August, right? To determine
yeah,
who
August is a good
playoffs.
one. September is probably more the important games because now that everything's back and playoffs are more in October. But yeah, August is it's on the back half of the season for sure. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. I mean, I don't know how those decisions are made, and that's way above my pay grade. But uh, I think that it's good for the game, though. It's good for the game to see the best of our best against everybody else's best of the best, and you can kind of see where everybody's at.
So I'm curious, how do you feel like America's favorite pastime has been baseball forever? But if you've
Mhm.
watched the news or heard, it's like, thanks, Taylor Swift. No, I'm kidding. It really is like they're saying that football is taking over. Thoughts on that kind of?
Well, it's again, it goes back to excitement, right? Like we are a instant gratification and excitement society, and football is more exciting at times. I mean, and to the baseball realists and diehards, a 1-0 game that is played in 2.5 hours is
Sure.
exciting because it's a great pitching duel and there's probably great defense that was happening. But to the person that you're just taking and it is what it is, it's like this is boring. Nobody hits the ball and nobody scores any runs. So there's both sides of it. Where football is, every 30 seconds a ball snapped and something happens, good, bad, or ugly. So it's just more of, it lets American and society kind of just be into something, and and football's big. It's huge. I mean, everybody loves it. I watch it every weekend. I mean, it's fun to watch that kind of stuff too. Um, but I get it. I mean, I get it. And again, for the non-baseball diehards, baseball's boring. It can be for sure. And if you learn it and can explain it to you, you're like, oh yeah, okay, great. And then you know what to look for, and you know what to kind of look out for and stuff like that. Where in football, it doesn't really have to be, nobody really knows. Like, okay, what are the plays or whatever it is, but they just see people hitting each other and people scoring
Oh,
touchdowns and,
that's great. That's great.
scoring runs. I mean, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, they hit him. You see that guy get hit? Great. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
in baseball, again, you could have a 1-0 game in 2.5 hours and, nobody gets hits and it's a
Yeah.
pitcher's duel. And it's just,
Yeah,
it's
but in the
again,
last time, we've kind of had a resurgence in the interest in baseball. I think there wasn't that
we
long ago
have.
where things were really slow and it's really come back pretty strong.
We have. So, you had that whole steroid era, which kind of really started upping baseball again because it all stemmed from the strike. So you had the strike, and then Major League Baseball wanted more runs scored. So what did players do? They got bigger and stronger. And then it was, well, no, we didn't tell you to do that. And nobody said do that, but that was kind of the result of it. And now it's, okay, you took that and went and kind of dialed it back a little bit into now it's more baseball like it's supposed to be. But there's rule changes out there and things are happening to try to help that and make games go quicker and be more exciting. And so yeah, you have seen a huge resurgence in it, which is good. I think COVID I think hurt baseball a lot because kids for almost a 2-year stretch weren't playing anything. So I mean, I'm seeing at the high school level where there's a couple groups of guys that we have that just aren't as developed and as far along as they should be because they didn't play. And I know a lot of good players that were younger that aren't playing anymore because they didn't play during that COVID couple years. So, it's been an ebb and flow for sure of where baseball is going, but I think it's in a good spot right now. Attendance is up everywhere. It seems like maybe except Tampa, but it seems like attendance is up. It seems like people are coming to the park at different levels. And I mean, the College World Series was the most watched ever this year, so that's awesome to see. So I think we're trending in the right direction. Hopefully, we can stay that way.
I was just in London and they had the Phillies Mets game there.
Yeah.
And there was fans everywhere. I mean, it was crazy. They even had the Phillies mascot dressed up into like
Yeah,
the whole, like Buckingham Palace costume and stuff like that. But there
yeah,
were fans everywhere, and it's really interesting as they're trying to. I think that's like the third year they've done that in London
mhm. Thanks,
to
so.
cross over to that audience, right? Because they don't have American football there. They have obviously soccer and, the Major League or the, what's it called? Premier League soccer and
Yeah.
football that they call it. But like to branch in baseball is really interesting, to kind of bring that in. So,
No, it's. I mean, baseball is growing across the world, and you're seeing a lot more European countries get better at it. Um, not so much at the pro level yet, but they're starting to be more and more. I mean, Germany's got a huge baseball base. A lot of it's because of Ramstein's Air Force Base that's there. So a lot of it, a lot of the people that are Americans living there in the army and military have started teams and that kind of stuff. Australia's getting really big in baseball.
isn't
Italy's get
Japan really big? Isn't Japan?
Japan's really big. Italy's getting really big. Korea's really big.
Wow.
So I think going across the sea and getting that European group to get more excited about it has been a good thing. And I just think it wasn't anything they really ever thought of before. And now it's starting to get to the point where the population playing is good enough where, okay, hey, now it's a realistic opportunity. And, Major League Baseball is going there. They're going to Mexico City. They go to Puerto Rico. I mean, they're doing their part to internationalize the game. And there's so many international players. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually almost more international pro players than there is American pro players at this
Oh
point.
yeah, the translators on the teams are like,
Yeah,
I
it's
know, like,
crazy.
yeah, so many teams have like in the locker room so many translators
Oh yeah,
because they're not English speaking, and it's
yeah,
incredible. It
yeah,
really
it's
is.
great.
Who has won the Olympics for baseball in the past? I feel like we should kind of
Um,
do that.
I have no
well, so
idea.
yeah, Mexico's always really good. Cuba's always really good. We're always really good. Japan's always really good. So it's usually in one of those four teams mix
Huh.
that's there for it. But there's been a lot. and Canada's not bad as well. They're kind of making a big jump to be one of the world leaders in baseball as well. So we're getting there. It's been fun to watch.
Are more kids coming into the sport, the professional, from high school or college?
So it's changed. A lot more now is from the college level. So I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago, Major League Baseball went from a 40-round draft to I think it's 20 rounds now. So you took out a lot of those high school kids getting opportunities to go, and now you're seeing a lot more of the college guys. One, because they're older, right? They're bigger, they're stronger, they're more game ready for the pro level than that high school kid that's 17, 18 years old and hasn't hit puberty yet, so to speak. So they're trying to have those guys that can come in and play now and win now because it's more necessary. You don't have as much time to let that high school kid develop and kind of just walk them through the process and walk them through the steps. You need guys that can come in and play right away. So it's going more college. I think you'll see a shift every few years back and forth, and a lot of it's because of the talent at that younger level too. And again, you're seeing some of the COVID, kind of kickbacks right now of where they're at in these high school classes. So there's not as many players as there used to be.
Maybe the minor leagues more of those kids may have gone to the minors out of high school, I suppose, at this point.
Yeah. So that's usually the steps. I mean, you always go. They have rookie ball, A ball, double A, triple A. But when they dropped the draft, all those rounds, they actually knocked out a whole level of professional baseball, which used to be short season A ball. So there was short season and then there was long season. Now there's just long season. So they knocked out a whole level across the country, which, is 30 teams, if not more, because a couple of teams had more than one team, at 25 players. So it's a big number of players not playing or having the opportunity. Now, what you're seeing, though, is the insurgent of independent leagues, which are not affiliated to the major league teams, just their own little small private professional leagues. And that's actually what I played in. I played in the Can-Am League, which was Canadian American. I played for the Jersey Jackals, and we had teams in Quebec and Worcester, Massachusetts, and Elmira, and all up and down the East Coast. So, those were great opportunities for guys, and they still are. But those guys are the kind of the smaller level guys that aren't getting those that would have been in the professional ranks that aren't there anymore. Sure. If that makes sense. So, it's good. I mean, baseball is good across the country. Every level is very good right now. It's just a matter of, okay, how are we going to keep it well and not push people away because of boredom or not have enough opportunity for them.
Were you recruited
change the uniforms?
Yeah, change the uniforms.
Put some capes. Put some capes. Stop.
Yeah. Well, like the Savannah Bananas. Do you know who they are, Dad?
Yes,
I mean, it's interesting. Like, there's a whole league, right? Like, it's not just them. We just know their team, but
it's just them and the Party Animals is the team they play. So they think of it as the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're selling
great.
out. Like
everything. I took time to see them in Tampa. They're awesome. It's a 2.5 hour party is what it is. I mean, there's a lot going on. But with that said, the players are very good. They're very talented. I was very impressed with, their pitching and the athleticism that they have on the field. If you can kind of focus just on the baseball part of it, it's really good. It's minor league quality.
Like, are they
yeah, they are. They are. Yep, they all are. They're either ex-minor leaguers or college guys that, they try out and they do a whole thing. I mean, and it's an entertainment business for sure. Again, Harlem, think Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, but on a super level, way above what Harlem Globetrotters did. I mean, it's
the
impressive.
Fashion cape's not a bad idea.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
So you were recruited right out of college, right? You were recruited to go play for the Jersey Jackals right out of college. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
So what if, like, knowing what you know today, what would you go back and do differently based on that experience?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And that's a good one. I think, for me, I was fortunate, and got to, after college, didn't get drafted, and it was kind of like, what am I going to do? And then the Jackals had called and said, hey, we have an infield spot open. Do you want to come? And I was on the bus the next morning at 6 a.m. I mean, that's how quick it happens. And if you say no, you don't get the opportunity. So, I mean, it was like 8 o'clock at night when I got the call, and at 6 a.m. I was on the bus. So it was a long night of doing laundry and trying to pack and leave at 4 in the morning to drive over to Jersey from my house to get there. But you know what? It's what you do if you want to play. And I wouldn't trade anything there. I think during college and during high school, I think maybe trying to, it's easy to hindsight to look back and say, I wish I would have done this, or, wish I would have trained more, or lifted more, or ran more, or whatever. But, I was fortunate, had a great college career, had a good high school career, and then, fortunately got a chance to, make a check and play professional baseball. I wasn't there for long. I actually tore my hamstring and got released. But you know what? I can say I did it, and that's a great thing to tell my son and anybody else. And it's great. It was a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And then as soon as I got released, I actually started coaching right away, like the 2 days later. So, and then 20 years later, I'm still doing it. So I don't have no regrets. That's for sure. Wish I could obviously played longer, which would have been awesome just to do it. But, I'm very happy with how it ended up.
But good for you because like listen, there's so many stories about how like people train and train and train to become athletes and then there's an injury and they lose who they
Yeah.
are or their purpose, right? Like they go
Yeah.
down the other path. Like they always say Robert Frost, two forks like a fork in the road, which way you're going to go
Yeah.
down. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you found the right path to go down and kind of navigated and weaved your way and then ended up, here now. And I think it's just such a cool story. I love that.
No, I'm fortunate for sure. I mean, and whether it was not forced, but nudged in the coaching realm and direction my entire life, probably. But love what my dad's done at DeSales and his time there, and my brother's a college coach now as well, and like I said, my grandfather was. So to have all of us kind of in the same realm and same profession has been awesome. I don't know what else I would do. I tried the sign company thing and liked it. It was enjoyable. It was cool because it was like athletics where everything was different. Every sign was different. It wasn't the same. But just, had that itch to be on the field and impacting lives and help develop kids move on. And definitely very fortunate what I get to do every day.
I love it. Has there been any like quote or anything in your world that has just been on your mind always, like some kind of like quote or some kind of statement or some kind of
That's
thing that you hold close to your heart?
Yeah, that's a good one. Honestly, not really. A lot of things have inspired throughout the years, and I think things come and go, and um, like and as you coach, depending on your kids you have and kind of what that locker room looks like, I think those things change every year as well. But nothing that's been like just one. I think it's just there's a mixture of it, and I've got actually a file of pages and pages and pages of quotes that when every situation possible is in there. So it's fun to go back and look through them and find one and go from there. But nothing that's just like, hey, this is the one. Like I don't never really had that one, unfortunately.
All right, last question for you. So, coaching style.
Mm-hmm.
You like if you think about coaches in the world, any team, like what type of coach are you like? Are you like a Ted Lasso, the fictional coach? Or like how would you describe your coaching style based on someone that we would all know?
Um, well, I like to think I'm a player's coach. I try to mix a few things, and I think the successful coaches and what's made me successful is you have to care. And that quote is they'll play harder if they know you care about them. That whole thing, but I think you have to be the one that can give them a big hug and kiss, tell them you love them, but you have to be the one that can grab them and say, "What the heck are you doing right now?" And everywhere in between. And I think by being able to do both of those, that makes you successful. You can't be just the yeller and screamer and the hard ass all the time. But you can't be the one that just is, rainbows and roses all the time either, and let them kind of do what they want. So I think if they know you care, the better
Makes a
they're
big
going to
difference.
play, and
Sure.
they'll run through a wall for you. And our guys, they do that. They play hard. And don't get me wrong, I'm the first one that's up there, up their butt and yelling at them and making sure they're doing things the right way, and hold them very accountable, very detail oriented. But at the same time, I'm the first one when they get a hit and give them a big hug and congratulate them and move on. So I think you have to be, and if you're not, there's got to be a middle ground somewhere for that, because at the end of the day it goes back to the relationships. They know you care, you can yell at them. They know you care, you can praise them. If you're on one end of the spectrum, they're just going to tune you out eventually.
Yeah.
In essence, you're also a life coach, which is very important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we do a classroom session every day before practice starts for a half hour, and very rarely has anything to do with baseball. It's usually a leadership lesson or a life lesson, or something we're talking about, social media lessons or interview questions, and just anything we can talk about to make them better. So when they leave here, they're prepared for that next level, whatever it is, college, firefighter school, professional baseball, whatever it is. We want to make sure they're ready for that level, and the best they can be.
I love that. I was just doing, I did a program a few weeks back for some college interns, and they were talking, the team from New College was actually their recruitment team, and they were talking about some of the biggest mistakes that people, when going into jobs, like college kids today, what they make. And the number one thing on there, they said that 50% of them don't make eye contact
It's
with
amazing.
or their interview.
Did you see the post about that? There's a post.
No.
Hold on, while I'm talking to you, I'll pull it up. But
Yeah, no.
I sent it to my wife. It was unbelievable. Hopefully I can find it here. Here it is, right here. So it said during job interviews, employees say recent college grads have 53% struggle with eye contact.
Mm.
All right. 50% asked for unreasonable compensation, which yeah. 47% dressed inappropriately. 27% used bad language. 21% refused to turn on their camera during their Zoom interview. And this is the best one. 19% brought their parent to the interview.
You've got to be kidding me. You got to send that to me. That is like, I mean, but you know what? Yeah. I can't even. I just can't even. I can't even imagine, Dad, like you going with me on an interview. Like I
Well,
can't.
what he's not telling is 10% of the parents were hired.
Right, exactly. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, because they interview better. But no, that's astounding numbers. Listening to that and seeing those numbers, and the eye contact is tough. But again, I think it goes back to what are we doing as a society to train our kids to not do that?
Not enough.
Not enough. I mean, the cell phones they're the greatest thing we've ever invented, but they're probably the worst thing they've ever invented, because everything is at their fingertips right away. I mean, in school, you can technically never leave your house if you wanted to. You could be born, grow up in your house, go to school in your house, work in your house, and never leave your house if you wanted to.
Well, one of the most recent revelations is really the technology is really truly a wonderful thing, be it the phones or whatever we're dealing with. The problem is the compulsive nature of human beings.
Correct.
Yeah.
We can't discipline ourselves.
No,
Correct.
It drives me mad. It's like you feel like you're really capturing, and like, listen, I'm guilty of it too as well too. I want to capture things in the moment, a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was like recently, I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, I want to capture those moments, but I don't want to be capturing the whole time. Like, I'm not, it's just not my style. Like, I want to be fully present when I'm doing that. And
Right.
it's true. Like, you want to be present in those moments, because then you like, yeah, you see the picture, but what's it telling? I don't know. It's a whole.
Right.
Bless you, my dear. Bless you.
Seizing on the truth. Seizing on the truth. Well, Nolan, I am so happy that you agreed to join us knuckleheads for this conversation.
Hey, cut that out.
No, it's that's what we were talking about, like wanting to do a podcast just about learning about the people in our world and different stories and what people do and their life path, because it just, to me, that's way more fascinating than finding out what, like a celebrity ate for breakfast or how they made their million. Like I just feel like the real people make the biggest difference and the most incredible
no question.
So there's an alarm going on. Can you guys hear that? Like
No.
someone's alarm. Okay. Zoom's great at canceling out noise. But it's incredible, the stories that we hear. And I love your story. And I think it's awesome. And you may have 3 biological children, but it sounds like you have way more outside of that. And you better start saving up for all the weddings.
Yeah, no, and you're right. It's the relationships that move on, but having those kids, and they're definitely part of our family, and Melissa and I are very, very happy in having them a part of it, and she loves coming to games and being a part of it, and those kids love our kids, and without that working on both sides, it wouldn't work. It'd be a nightmare. But having both sides being involved and and loving it. And, she gets excited about fundraising stuff we do and events we do. And like I said, Ty is, he's one of the boys, and, they'll hang out with him and play with him and take him places. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to see kind of how it all transpires. So
I
definitely.
wish you had been my coach. Who knows how far I could have gone.
There you
Exactly.
go. Well, you never played baseball. You played stickball. Totally different. But so here's the deal, right? So we are going to make sure, listener, that we're going to drop in the comments or like the description of this podcast of how you can actually go find out more about Square Up Academy if you're interested in baseball or softball or just want to have a birthday party there, right? Can they do that birthday party? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything like that where you can find Nolan and connect there. And when we talk about what's your story, that's your story. And we're so grateful that you shared it with us. So thank you, Nolan. We appreciate
You
it.
knocked it out of the park, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pun intended. And there you
no
go.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It was awesome. Anytime. Love always seeing you, Jamie, and talking to you. So anytime we can get together is awesome. And definitely thank you very much.
How cool is that, Dad? Like to think about that you get to play baseball and then create like your life from that. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, I think the cooler part is one of the goals in life is finding the joy in life. It sounds like he's found the joy. He loves it. He enjoys it. It's what he does. It's who he is. And working with kids today, it's critically important. You see the status of discipline, the problems we have out there, a lack of attention, lack of direction. It's a huge job.
Yeah. I think that sometimes also like coaches play that parent role, that parental.
Unquestionably.
Like how many stories have we heard in history where the coach has been more of a parent than the actual parent because they spent so much time with them and they've been this like great mentor. When he was talking about the weddings thing, I thought that was really cute about, hey, you want to get to more weddings, not wins. I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
Well, there's no handbook for being a parent. You're on the job training itself, but coaches, they know what they're there for a purpose, and what their direction spills over into other things as well. How to conduct yourself, it's a basic discipline of life, what gets you to carry through far-reaching impacts. He's a surrogate parent for sure.
So cool, and that's his story.
I never mentioned that George Costanza working for the Yankees, whether that was true or not.
All right, and that, listener, is where I say we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jaimemarco.com. And we